Commodore.
And I'm Chelsea Wynn, and this is the Ironic Pod. We're two complete strangers wound up being purpose mates, business partners, and best friends in the matter of months.
We like to have real-life conversations about our healing journeys and how we fell into alignment with our purpose.
Period.
Hey.
That was only time number 2.
You know, it's only our 3rd episode, so we getting it. We getting it.
The first time we did it about, how many times did you say we did it the first
Relay times.
But how many times did you really think? Probably like
15 to 20.
That's not that bad.
For the first time ever.
For the first time ever.
And we didn't even know this. We memorized it at that point.
You're right. I didn't even really look at it until the day of. I mean, I seen it.
You knew it was there.
I didn't know. I didn't like practice in the mirror.
Right.
Why? I should have practiced.
Basically, we're naturals.
Period.
We're gonna get back to the whole, y'all having homework from last week.
Ooh.
But first, what's the word?
What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? You gonna go first?
I'll go first. So I've been listening to the new Keon Dixon album. I do not remember the name of it right now, but it's some grown folk music, and
it's sexy. That's that sexy album.
It's that.
That's
the
same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you better
His
feeling
voice.
good.
His voice, butter. Actually, I kind of described it to my coworkers today as the cinnamon butter from Texas Roadhouse.
Ooh. Ooh. I eat it with my fingers.
Exactly. So that's the word over here.
That's up. So you've been feeling sexy at home with some wine and some silk PJs.
No, but I've been listening to the album a lot. Yes.
All right. I got a song this week too. Surprisingly, I did listen to a bunch of podcasts, and there were some good ones. But Kat Burns. Do you know who Kat Burns is? Oh, jeez. She's a TikTok artist. She's adorable. Mm-hmm. And she just came out with a new song, "Live More and Love More." It's what I use in one of my recent videos. Like, no.
Oh wait, yeah, when you're brushing your teeth.
No.
You were playing when you were like, I was so excited for this drop.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I pay more attention to her videos than she does.
Goodbye. You just like to see me brush my teeth for some odd reason.
I'm glad to know that you do it. For 50,000 people.
Yeah, don't remind me. I hit 48,000 this week.
I thought it was like 49 now.
No, stop rushing me. I was at
40. I am manifesting. It's not rushing.
I was at 47.9. Now I'm at 48 point something.
No big deal.
We're making it, y'all.
She a celebrity. People at the gym who don't even know our names know her.
And you.
Thanks, champ. You're a champ. So what are we talking about today?
Today's my birthday. Well, today's not my birthday, but when this episode drops, it will be my 30th birthday. Holy
30.
shit.
Dirty 30.
Yeah. My 20s are over.
And it was fast. It went by fast.
No. It went by so slow. But we're doing a birthday special today. We're going to talk about 20 lessons that we learned from our 20s.
Because, like, isn't it a little ironic that we're both turning 30 this year?
Yeah.
Just a month apart.
I was about to say, it's not that long apart.
A month apart. So I'll be shortly after her.
Yeah.
So we're about to run through a couple of our life lessons that we got out of our 20s. And I don't know about you, but the richness of these lessons made me think, like, sheesh, you only did that in 20 years?
Yeah. You know, that's why I was thinking about that, because I was telling Champ at the gym this morning that it was really hard for me to go back and, like, rewatch the videos, because we talk about such deep things, but there are actual lives. You know what I'm saying? So it's like watching it back, even doing any type of editing or adding anything in, it's like I have to relive those moments. And for you too. Like, we're so connected that I'm like, damn, she really went through that. Or like, you know, like you feel it listening back. I'm like, that's really hard. So I feel like this one's going to be the same.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, ooh, I remember when I learned that lesson.
Right.
And we got a book coming out, y'all.
Yep. Actually, it'll be the day this drops, right?
Yep. It'll be available the day this drops. And it's 20 lessons from our 20s. But what is it called?
Y'all got to stay tuned.
Right.
We ain't gonna tell you everything.
AKA, we didn't pick a title yet.
just keep an eye on the link tree.
Yes, for sure.
And
we'll post it on social medias.
Yeah.
But
so by the time y'all watch this, y'all already gonna know the name. So you're ahead of us. Y'all are in the future. So there you go.
That's fun. I'm excited for that though. All right, you want to go first or you want to go second?
Well, I just want to pay homage to the name that we finally decided on this episode.
What you got?
Peace up to the 20s.
Period.
Peace up. A-Town down.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to start or do you want to go first?
I'm nervous.
Don't make fun of us, because we live this stuff. But I really hope that some of y'all were saving you some time by learning this, because it was not easy getting here.
Hell no. That's why I'm nervous. I'm nervous to unpack a lot of these.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dang, I remember that. But I do get a lot of comments often that they're like, oh, you're really teaching me this. Like, I'm 22 or I'm 24 or I'm 26 or I'm so glad I learned this now. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I would have learned that.
Yeah, those sound so young.
I know, right?
That sounds so young.
We sound young too. Like, when I say 29, people are like, oh, you're a baby. I'm about to be 30.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Child. Speaking of 30, I want to know what you're looking forward to in your 30s.
Ooh, zinger, because I didn't see that coming, to be honest. Okay, let's get into this.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I spent most of my 20s unlearning a lot of things that I picked up in my childhood and relearning who I am.
Yeah.
And understanding that there is such thing as learning yourself.
Yeah.
So I can literally feel the difference between the 20s where I really had a process of finding out who I am to like 30 feels like I'm stepping into that and get to walk in it. So it's like, it kind of feels like a rebirth in a sense.
Yes.
It feels like I'm literally stepping into a new season where I'm like, one, I don't know what's about to go down. But just the fact that we pulled together this podcast in 3 months, or 3 weeks, not even 3 months.
Yeah.
3 weeks. And now we're already on episode 3, talking about our 30s. Like, and this is just the beginning. Like I said, don't get used to the setting. But there's so, like, they don't even know half the stuff that we're going to touch in this. So I'm for once in my life, I'm excited for the unknown.
You know what? I just said that to my cousin yesterday because she was asking what I was excited about for my 30s. And I was like, I've never been as excited for a birthday as I am for 30.
Yeah.
And I really feel like you said, it's because I really have gotten to know myself all through my 20s, especially 28 and 29, where I was like, let's go. We're reinventing this shit. So to be walking into 30 and I'm walking in my purpose and I'm following what I actually want to be doing, like no excuses, no 9 to 5 to hold me back, you know, like going all in, it feels different.
And knowing yourself. Ooh. Because I'm teaching people that are way older than me how to know themselves. Yeah. And that you have the freedom to know yourself. Yes. That is exciting.
It's so exciting.
And you can literally start over anytime.
Yeah. And then to feel like we did that, like to feel like we really started over. And now I'm like walking into 30 and I'm like, wait, I'm actually walking into 30 as the person I actually want to be like. And not saying that I'm perfect and I made it to some, you know, you're always healing, you're forever healing. But to know that I've put the work in, you know what I'm saying? At 28, I was bawling my eyes out. Like, I hate, what the fuck am I doing, you know? And at 30, I'm like, this is it. Like, I'm walking in what I'm supposed to be walking in. Like, that feels good. To feel good about who you are.
And knowing that you already was at your bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Because we already know, even when we're getting attacks, we already know how to counter them.
Yeah.
We already know, like, all right, cry it out right now.
Yeah.
But later, we back on it because we know who we are, we know our purpose and everything. So.
We've been getting attacked like crazy.
Man, this week alone, left and right at the same time.
I'm sick of it.
Why
am I still working?
Bruh, we said that how many times this week?
No, I said it so many times.
That's
my favorite part of anything you ever said. It was just funny. But
let's get that on a t-shirt.
We should.
Okay, bet.
For the 27th drop.
Bet.
We got a merch drop on the 27th. Don't forget.
Yeah. The 27th is about to be your favorite day.
Period. Oh, yeah. We got self-care day on the 27th. We still haven't did that.
We'll come up with the little guidelines.
For sure. We got a lot of work to do, huh?
Yeah. But let's reflect on these 20s.
Let's go. You want to go first, you said?
Yeah, I'll go.
Let's go. What you got?
All right, so the first lesson that I have is... Y'all buckle up for this one. I'm coming in swinging, right?
Okay. Go ahead.
Everyone in our lives have an expiration date. It does not matter how hard you hold on to them. Sometimes they well overstay their welcome. Yeah?
Absolutely.
And that's because from my upbringing, I've realized that, let's say, like, the feeling of neglect was very heavily, like, influencing me. And so just thinking of how many times I stayed with or, like, tried to hold on to someone who, one, wasn't serving me, right?
Yeah.
And two, like, they should have been out of my life. But instead, because I was so desperate from the absent father experience and just wanting to be loved or whatever the case may be, I would try to hold on for, like, manipulate the situation to keep it, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's my number one.
Yikes.
Learn to let go.
Yeah, no, when I read what you were going to say, I was thinking what I learned through that is to let people do what's best for them at all times, right? And obviously that goes the same for us. Like, we have to do what's best for us at all times. But I've been in so many situations where I feel like I was forcing that person to stay in my life. You know, like, no, I know that you love me, or I know that I love you, or I know we have all this potential, and yada, yada, yada.
You just don't know how to communicate.
Right, yes. Jeez. Yes, like, I would fall in love with potential a lot. But when I realized that everybody has to do what's best for them at all times, I started to change that mentality, and it changed my perspective on everything, relationships and friendships. Like, if at any point in time you feel like your life is better off with me not in it, please leave. You know what I'm saying? Why are you holding anybody to be there? Your time in my life is up.
Right.
And my time in your life is up.
Yeah, it's going to be the same way anyway.
Exactly.
You know, like, whether it's because you need it, either way, the time's up.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I had to learn that there's an expiration date for everybody. It's time to go sometimes. Not everybody's meant to stay in your life forever.
And that reminds me of my favorite quote from Nipsey Hussle and Lauren London, and that is, like, just experience people. Right?
Yeah.
You don't get so attached to, well, I've known them for this long and I need to keep them around because X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
No, experience them, gain, like I said in the last episode, if you did not watch it, run it back. But you have to learn how to
pick lessons from everyone.
Pick lessons from everyone, yeah.
All right, my number one, my number one is, it's not my job to prove my worth to anyone. And I guess where I was going with that is, for a long time, or most of my 20s, I felt like I needed to prove myself to people. Like, oh, if I show him that I can do this, or I can do this, or I show up for him in this way, he'll love me. Like, I would try to love people into loving me.
Yeah.
And no. It's not my job to prove my worth to you. Yeah. If we link up, or we, start hanging out and we're rocking together, and you don't see my value from jump, you just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me go find somebody that does. If I'm showing up as my authentic self, and you don't see it as such, and you don't love what you see, it's not my job to get you to love it. I'm going to go find somebody that does love it.
Right.
But I had to love myself first. But, yeah, that's my number one. It's not my job to prove my worth to anybody.
And, I thought that came to mind when you said that, because obviously I can relate in that aspect, too. Especially relationally with friendships or anything like that. However, it also kind of reminded me of growing up mixed.
Yes.
Right? So, like, I always felt like I had to prove my blackness or prove my whiteness.
Absolutely.
And so that's one thing that I came to...
Absolutely.
Like, that kind of came to mind when I heard that, too.
Yeah. And you know what? To dig into that just a little bit, because that's been a really big struggle that I feel like a lot of people don't recognize. There's struggles no matter what race you are, right? But I feel like being both, or being two, it's been hard for me to find my identity in that sense. Like, I'm too black for the white folks, and I'm too white for the black folks. Like, there's no middleman, and that's as far as anything. The way that I speak, the music that I listen to, like, the way that I show up in certain environments. Like, I feel like I always have to adapt to whatever group I'm in, to the point where that's just naturally who I was. I would speak with the more white voice, whatever the hell that even means, when I was around all my white friends, and then I would mold and adapt to my more black side, when I was with my black friends, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing. But I had to learn to just be authentically myself. Like, y'all gonna get this country music whether you want to hear it or not.
It doesn't matter what I look like. I can have braids in my head and still be listening.
I know that's right, said that.
But I don't listen to country. Stay from me.
Yet.
Alright, you ready for two?
I'm ready.
Alright, finding peace in yourself is the life hack.
Ooh. Finding peace in yourself is the life hack.
You didn't say it right. Finding peace
in yourself
is the life hack.
Period. The one and only. All right. What's your perspective on that? What you got?
I realized when I really took a dive into finding out who I was, unlearning, and just coming to terms with some of the hurt that I was experiencing, what I prioritize now versus in the beginning of my 20s is my peace. Because I believe my peace is connected to my intuition.
For sure.
And with that being said, my intuition always has my best interest at heart, right? And so if I feel at peace about a decision I've made, a person I'm around, anything like that, be good. But if I don't feel that, you're not in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's my thoughts.
I feel that. Read it to me again.
Finding peace in yourself is the life hack.
Okay. So when I heard that, I thought about how much I learned how to be alone, like physically by myself, and mentally, in every sense of the word alone, like not needing to be in a relationship, not needing to have friends around me all the time, because I was that girl. I always had a best friend, even from the time, all growing up, my whole childhood, all through high school, all through college, like whether it was a man always there and that was my best friend, or a girlfriend, like I wouldn't even go to the stores by myself. I never spent time alone. And all through my 20s, the more and more I grew up, I realized that was because I was scared to be by myself, right? And so once I really learned me and learned to find peace in the solitude, like I sit there by myself and I'm like, this is so nice. Especially when you learn yourself so much that you no longer feel like you're in a room with a stranger when you're in the room by yourself, right? It's like, I'm my own best friend.
Literally.
I mean, not that I don't have other best friends.
We be over here having a grand old time.
Literally, I have so much fun. You know me. I be cackling at myself, bro. I really find myself funny. I understand, like, other people might not, but that's okay. Like, I'm talking about, like, in solitude, you should love yourself so much that being by yourself should be fun. Like, I have fun by myself. Whether other people find me fun don't make a difference. I have a good time alone.
Yeah, and stacking up on that, being an introvert, you have to recharge.
Oh, yeah.
First off, you might as well love who you recharging.
Yeah.
Right? But without that recharge, you just your battery drained, right? Yeah, it's the life hack. It's the life hack.
It's the life hack. The life hack. The life hack.
Life hack.
Yeah. All right, my number 2?
Yeah.
Okay. The only person ever holding me back was me. Ugh. Yeah, that one kind of hurt to even put down on the paper, but I had to really look back at what my reasons were as to why I wasn't doing certain things. And that's as far as anything, why did I not leave the relationship? Why did I not go after my dreams? Why did I not think I was good enough? Like, and nobody ever told me that I wasn't good enough. I was telling myself that.
Right.
So I never had that belief within myself. I believed that other people believed for me, like I believe that you think I could do it. But if I don't have that, within my own self, I'm not going to get anywhere.
Right.
And so when I really sat down and realized, Chelsea, you're the only one saying that you can't do it. You're the only one telling yourself that you're not good enough. You're the only person holding yourself back. Once I realized that, it was over.
Yeah.
Because now I know I'm the only one that can change that.
And then now you know yourself and you love yourself and you like yourself.
Yeah. It's over.
It's over.
There's no stop. You can't stop
the beginning.
Like I know that's right. All right, what you got for number 3?
Oh, y'all ready for this one?
I think so.
Vulnerability is my power.
Ooh. Vulnerability is my power. That's a good one.
Let me just go on and dive in
Let's
like
go.
Usher.
Let's hear it.
Get it. Anyway.
Dive in like Usher.
Yeah.
I'm about to.
Oh, that's Trey Songz.
I'm so sorry.
I said Usher.
I was about to say.
Okay, so vulnerability is my power. What I realized was because of all the hurt that I experienced, whether it was on my own count or whether it was just what I was raised around, that made me build up walls. I was terrified, terrifiably, is that a word?
It can be.
It is now.
It sounds promising to me.
Right.
Terrifiably.
Run the dictionary. Just kidding.
Who would you step into?
I'm just kidding. But I was very, very shy growing up, and it was a lot of trauma that was surrounding that. So I was always nervous to be vulnerable, honestly, and I think our society kind of fuels that too. It makes us think that being hard is the cool way.
For sure. And
it makes you feel like if you being vulnerable, you weak.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I've learned firsthand that it's actually the opposite. If I can be vulnerable with anyone in the room, you can't try to take my power from me.
Yeah.
Because I'm being authentically myself when I'm vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that was a very good lesson that I got in my 20s.
That was really good.
Yeah.
I definitely learned that lesson too, but I guess in my perspective, it came from me being so scared to offend people all the time. And that's a lot of the reasons why I wasn't as vulnerable as I am nowadays. Like, I'm going to keep it real with you regardless. You know, I'm going to be respectful to not, hurt your feelings or nothing. But, yeah, all through my 20s, I feel like I was so nervous to offend somebody else that I would hold in what I actually wanted to say.
Right.
Which, in a lot of times, it made me silence my own voice. Like, I have this to say, but I'm going to just think it in my head because I don't want you to feel some type of way. And it's like, no, the truth will set you free. Being honest and open and vulnerable has changed a lot for real.
And it changes a lot for others too.
Oh yeah.
And like I always talk about how I have a heart of service. So when I see that me being speaking my truth, being in my true authentic self, I see it in other people where they're like, oh yeah, I didn't know you were like that. You experienced this, but because I know you have, I know I can get through whatever.
Oh yeah.
And that be hitting, boy.
Yeah.
My love language is words of affirmation in the first place. So if you start speaking into me like that, I'm like, ooh, they family.
Man, say family. All right, my number 3 kind of goes along with it. Accountability will free me. So I guess to dig into that one, I blamed other people for a long time. I had a victim mindset for a very long time, and it wasn't even intentional. I obviously never sat down and was like, I want to be the victim or I'm the victim in this. It was more so like I always felt like I made the right moves in situations, and so if other people were making wrong moves, I felt like I was the victim in that situation. And even if you are, like, taking accountability for your actions is not taking blame, for the situation.
It's
but
just acknowledging what part you have in it.
Exactly. And when I was able to do that, I was able to be like, okay, now how can I fix this? You can sit around and blame people forever, but you can't change other people's actions. You can only change your own. So looking back in any situation, what did you do that you could have done differently? And what can you do differently moving forward, right? And when I did that, it freed me completely, because what I realized is, because I had such a victim mindset, I was focused so much on forgiving them, whoever it was, whether it was a relationship or friendship or whatever. I was focused on forgiving them because they hurt me so much. But I really was the one that needed to forgive myself, right? Like, I was really mad and upset with me, and my actions toward my own self in certain situations. And once I was able to take accountability for those actions, I was able to move forward and heal from them and forgive them. And now,
my thoughts on that kind of reminds me of my workbook that I wrote. And there's a part where it's like, okay, basically we're not all like the heroes. Sometimes we're the villains in some people's story.
Yeah.
And so when I hear that, I think of like, okay, what role did I play in hurting someone?
For sure.
Because I want to be accountable, and I want to have that awareness too. So when you have that awareness, you can be accountable and be like, okay, I don't like that I made someone feel this way.
Yeah.
And I truly believe in the phrase, hurt people hurt people. And I was a hurt person. And it wasn't that I was intentionally trying to hurt people, but it was because I was so upset with who I was. I was trying to guard whatever I was protecting.
Right.
Even if it wasn't serving me.
Exactly.
And that meant that sometimes I hurt people.
Yeah.
And so that that was a huge lesson for me too. Taking accountability, because at the end of the day, like you said, and we always say, we're the ones that have the power to change our lives.
Right.
And it starts with us. We're the only consistent person in our life.
Yeah.
Who's with us every day.
Yeah.
Every second of the day.
And even when it comes to hurt people, it's like when you focus so much and you have that victim mindset, that's all you focus on. That's what your perspective is. You're always thinking about, well, I was hurt. Well, I did this and I was the victim and this shouldn't have happened to me. And you're thinking about that all the time. And so now, of course, even when you go into a relationship that is healthy or a friendship that is healthy, you can't even accept that because you're so focused on the negative all the time. Like, you're so focused on the negative perspective of it all. Taking accountability and changing that victim mindset really shifted a lot.
A lot.
For
Changed
sure.
your life.
All right, number 4, what you got?
Number 4, get y'all's notebooks out.
Oh, Lord, they should have had them out already. We done
right,
dropped some.
we already dropped 8 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid lessons.
All right, so number 4 for me was reprogramming your inner dialogue, which comes back to the accountability, awareness, self-love, all that stuff. I feel like if you're coming from a negative fixed mindset, you have to be intentional to change that inner dialogue for a growth mindset.
Absolutely.
You have to, or else you're not going to grow. Obviously, it's in the name. So reprogram your inner dialogue. This, for me, started very small.
Mm-hmm.
If I said, ew, you look gross,
Yeah.
okay, now say something nice to yourself.
Exactly. Me too.
You know?
That's funny. Yeah.
And then eventually you start building up a whole conversation with yourself. Like, ooh, girl, you killed that last night.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But that's when you do start building on that self-love. That's when you start appreciating who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. So that's my number 4.
So for me, I guess my perspective on that is I didn't realize how deep or how much I was hurting myself or affecting myself by having all these negative dialogue inside of my head, right? And changing that internal dialogue for me allowed me to show up as the person I actually want to be. Because what would happen is I would think things in my head and they would be negative, but because I didn't ever want to be seen as like this negative person, what would come out of my mouth would always be positive, right? But I was getting nowhere because then I felt like a stranger to myself, because in my head I'm one person and out loud I'm another person. And so changing that internal dialogue within my own self, in my own head, in my own mind, I was then able to show up as my authentic self. Like, this is me. This is how I speak to myself. This is how I speak to you. This is who I am in any room that I show up in.
And this is how you can speak to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, literally becoming a product of your work and being able to walk the walk, and you don't even have to convince anyone. They can just see it on you.
Exactly.
That's what the 20s brought out of me.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Being authentically.
That doesn't mean I'm not going to change by tomorrow.
Right.
But it means I'm progressive. I'm progressing.
Yeah. So. Yeah. All right. We're on 4?
Yep.
I'm the main character. I should matter the most. So I was actually excited because main character went like viral on TikTok for a while. Like, be the main character, be the main character. And I didn't even know what the hell that meant for a while, but putting myself first before anybody else, you know. And all through my 20s, I was so focused on friendships and relationships, and I cared about these individuals so much that I would always put their feelings and their wants and their needs above my own. And I felt almost selfish forever focusing on me. And it's like, it goes along with, I'm nothing to nobody if I'm nothing to myself, right? I'm not a good mother if I'm not good to me. I will never be a good wife if I'm not good to me, you know? I'm not a good friend if I'm not good to me. You can't be good to nobody or anything if you're not first good to yourself. So putting myself in that main character role, and it's like, you need to be okay all the time. You know, not okay, but you know what I'm saying? You need to be...
Needs need to be met.
Yes, before you can try to meet anybody else's needs. Thank you. And that's how I got into, you know, when I first wake up, I'm my first priority at all times, you know, no excuses. And not to say that my son is a lower priority or whatever I got going on is a lower priority, but me and my son should be right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many of us are taught, because I feel like I was taught that my son is first. And so for the first few years of motherhood, my son was always first. And it's like, he can't be first. There's a reason they tell you to put your mask on before you can put your child's mask on the airplane, right? Because I can't put your mask on if I can't breathe. You know what I'm saying? I can't help you if I can't help me. So yeah, making myself top priority. I'm the main character. Everything should be about yourself in your own head.
Right. And it's kind of funny because we talk about like friendships a lot, obviously, and I realized that growing up, going along with that thought, I always felt like the sidekick. And so people only knew me because of who I was hanging out with. They knew of me, right? But because of that, I acted the role. I was the supporting character. I wasn't the main act. And so I remember having like negative thoughts like, man, you'll never get married because you don't have that quirky personality that so-and-so has. And stuff like that. And when I realized, like, who else can be the main character in my life?
Exactly.
No one.
Right.
No one.
Yeah.
Number 5?
Number 5.
All right.
Let's go.
My past does not define me. I feel like we want to harp so much on the mistakes we have made without taking in the lessons that we got from those moments.
Yeah.
Or even looking for them. Yeah. That's a life hack too. Look for the lessons in everything. Everything, everyone. Life is constantly teaching you, whether it's progressing you or not. So,
and not at the end. That was my issue.
Yeah.
I would look for the lessons at the end. So once the relationship went to shit, and I was like, okay, what's the lesson in this? Baby, you should always be learning, right? Like, and I was thinking about that the other day because I was in a relationship for almost 7 years I even said at the end, I'm like, well, at least I learned a lesson. The lesson that I needed came year one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't need to wait all 7 years to learn that lesson, baby. You learned it from jump, right? But yeah, thinking about that from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, what am I learning from this? What's next? Number 5. Oh, so my number 5 goes kind of along with that. Where you come from doesn't have to be where you end up. And that goes mainly from like childhood and my upbringing. I've been in the same city my whole life. I'm originally from Massachusetts, but we moved here when I was in like first grade. And so we've been in the same city, the same house. We've, done the same routines, the same type of lifestyle. And it really wasn't until the past year where I like looked around the city and I was like, this feels more like a hometown to me. Like it doesn't feel like I'm supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. It feels like I'm supposed to go here to visit or like, for holidays or something. But yeah, I never thought about it like that. I just felt like this is where I've always been. This is where I'm comfortable. So this is where I need to be. Even because my son's father lived about an hour from us. And even when we moved, like, out to there, I was like, no, I can't. Like, my mom's here. My parents are here. My friends are here. Like, I feel like I had a whole life here in this little city. And it's like, you don't have to stay there.
Right.
You don't have to. You can build a life anywhere you want to build a life. It might be scary.
Let's manifest her going to North Carolina.
I'm not going to North Carolina, child. That's my least favorite state. I mean, maybe. You never know. Keep your mind open.
I will.
Hey.
Okay.
Number 6.
Number 6.
What you got?
Ooh, we buckle up.
I've been buckled in, child.
I'm talking.
Ooh. Dang.
Not everything is about you.
That one was the hardest lesson for me. Oh, Lord.
Not everything is about you.
It's not.
Whether it's, oh, my friend is depressed, I wonder what I did. Whether it's, oh, they're not texting me back, I wonder what I did.
I wonder what I did.
It's not always about you.
It don't have nothing to do with you.
At all. Oh, they ghosted me.
Yeah.
What did I do? Time? Child, we going back to number 1.
Yeah.
Everyone is in our life for an expiration.
Yeah. I had one similar to that, so I had to cross that one off the list. But that was a really, really hard lesson for me to learn. Because I took everything so personal. Like, in my head, if I love you properly and you don't love me back properly, I literally think of all the things that I could have done differently to get you to love me properly. And it's like, if somebody's not loving you properly, that has so much more to do with them than it has to do with you, right? And like I said, not just in relationships, in anything. Like, the way that somebody treats you has everything to do with them and what they're going through, and almost nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. But that did really change my perspective on a lot of things, because now I don't blame myself for every little thing. I'm like, if you did what's best for you, then
good job.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
All right, so my number 6 was projecting my feelings can destroy a lot of relationships. Yeah, that one was a hard one for me too. I made the mistake a lot through my 20s of feeling like my feelings were facts. Like, my feelings were right. If I felt like that, and I genuinely believe that I felt like that, then I'm right. And the other person is wrong if they don't feel like that. That's crazy. That makes no sense, y'all. So yeah, not okay, so if I felt some type of way, and I would make it a fact that they felt that way too. So like, if I'm like, oh, I don't like my outfit, I would show up and be like, they don't like my outfit. And so I would be so insecure because I'm projecting how I feel onto them. And so I assumed that everybody felt that way. And that's, I think, a lot of the reason why in my 20s I wasn't able to have like healthy relationships. I wasn't able to be loved properly, because not only did I not love myself properly, but I would show up in dating relationships or whatever, and I would assume that they feel about me how I feel about myself. Like, I hated myself, or I thought that I was ugly, or all these bad things. And I would show up and be like, they think that too, right? And so then I was uncomfortable or insecure the whole time, because how do you not hate me as much as I hate me?
See, I think when I think of that thought, it's more in a deeper root too, I guess. But it makes me think of things that I had to unlearn from growing up in little weird environments, right? how did that project, or how did an experience with a person change how I started acting towards the next person? And I feel like a lot of people do that, especially in relationships, whether it's platonic or anything. Is they're like, oh, well, she did me dirty, she was my best friend, or he did me dirty, he was the love of my life. But then, so I'm going to treat this next person as how I should have been treating them.
Right.
And then you're hurting more people.
That makes sense.
Because you have an issue that you need to face. You're going to hurt them in what they view on love or how they view friendship. All because you haven't handled your stuff.
And it's hard because you don't necessarily realize that in the moment. Like,
we're
not thinking about that, like, oh, I'm treating this person like this because of my past. Like, that you just, like, you start to view these things as what it is, right? That's why I was so scared to get into another relationship, because my view of relationships was so negative and toxic. And it's like, that's not, all men are not shitty, Chelsea.
This
what are you
ain't
not
that.
getting? This ain't that. It's your turn.
7. My voice matters. This is coming from someone who was very, very, very shy growing up. I mentioned it, I think, in episode 1 or last episode. I don't know. It feels like it's been a while.
Maybe both.
Yeah, but my 6th grade teacher would literally make me ask her a question every day to make me talk, right? And so my voice matters means that no longer am I afraid to voice my thoughts. I will do it, again, like you said, in a respectful way. However, if it doesn't sit right with my truth, or if it doesn't feel good in alignment, I'll voice it now. Where I used to always silence myself because I was afraid of the consequences. Whether it was someone going off on me. This also roots from toxic family members. Right? When you're so used to walking on eggshells with people, that can affect how confident you feel when you are sharing your concerns. So that was a huge one that I've learned in my 20s.
That's a really good one. I learned that in a similar sense. Obviously, I learned to speak up for myself and voice my opinion when necessary, but I think going along those lines, I also learned to take up space. Like, I deserve to be here just as much as the next person. And that's I notice that a lot even in my daily life. Like, when I'm checking out the grocery store and the person hands me the cash back, I'm trying to hurry up. Like, I'm literally, my heart be racing because I know that person's waiting. Baby, you deserve to be here just as much as that person deserves to be here. Speed it up a little bit. Don't be nasty. You know what I'm saying? Don't be disrespectful. But you do not have to rush out of here just because there's another person waiting. You deserve to be here. Obviously that's a little example, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's so much deeper than that, but just as it's an everyday, all day thing.
It reminded me of, you saying that reminded me of the gym, right? Because we both go to the gym. What's up, champ? And Chad. But at the gym, there's this, gift that's going around. I guess it's a clip from the Euphoria show, and the popular guy is just walking straight ahead, not making any eye contact while everyone's staring at him. And it reminded me of me in the gym. I take up space in a place that I had anxiety. I would not go because it's like, clearly I need to be in here, but they know I need to be in here too, so now they're watching me. Nobody's watching you in the gym.
Literally nobody. They're
focused on, why is this weight so heavy?
Yeah.
But it reminded me of, like, sometimes just to fake it till I make it, especially if I'm having a bad, like, body image day or something like that, fake it till you make it. I'd be walking with a little stretch. I take up that space.
And I use the machine until I'm done.
Man, what?
There be so many times I'm like, I know this person is looking at me, and I'm like, I try to hurry up and finish my sets. Baby, why? Like, you don't deserve to use that machine just as much as that person does. It makes no sense.
Right.
Okay, what was we on, number 7? Focus on the cards in my own hand and don't compare. Through my 20s, I would compare myself to other people, or other relationships, or other friendships, or other careers, or whatever. And I felt like I was stuck with the cards that I was dealt, and I ran out of moves. I stopped trying, let's be honest. I stopped trying, and I started paying more attention to the cards that were in other people's hands and not in my own. And so I had to learn that lesson the hard way, that it literally makes no difference what another person holds in their hand. What moves can I make with the cards that I have? You know what I'm saying? What I gotta switch some things up, but and not comparing myself as in how you got there is not how I'm finna get there. My path doesn't need to look exactly like your path does. And that doesn't mean that I can't make it. It doesn't mean that you're better than me or I'm, we're all on our own path. Focus on your own hand.
Right. And that, I recognize and empathize with the fact that in a culture of social media, it is so easy to compare yourself to who and where someone is in their life.
Yeah.
And that it just makes me want to emphasize the need to learn yourself and like what is your lane.
Mm-hmm.
And when they say stay in your lane, I'm not saying don't branch out and take risks, but take aligned risk.
Yeah,
is what I would say. Things that feel good to you, not because you saw it from someone else.
Yep.
But because it feels good, and you know that's the right path for you.
Right. And to go along with that, I had to learn the hard way that it's not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. Yeah. There is no one-size-fits-all, right? And that comes even to lifestyles, too. When I was trying to build a routine that worked for me, I would pay so much attention to what everybody else was doing. Mm-hmm. So it's like, she wakes up at X amount of time, or X time, and I need to wake up at that time, and I need to do exactly what she's doing because she's healthy, and so I need to follow her routine. No. You need to find a routine that works for you.
Man.
Like, what works for you? Otherwise, there's no longevity in that. That it's never going to sustain you. Right. Because you're trying to follow what somebody else did to get successful.
Right.
You have to figure out what works for you. And that's why I always tell people, I wake up early in the morning because it works for me.
Yeah.
But that's not the only way to a happy, healthy lifestyle. Like, try it out, you know. I always say weekly challenges. Do weekly challenges. Give yourself different goals to set every week and try new things with your routine and then build a routine that works for you. Mm-hmm. That's it. What did you just say? Was that number 7?
You just said 7, right?
Oh, it's one number 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Finding peace in the awkward silence.
Number 8. Finding peace in the awkward silence.
So, if you can now use your imagination, I'm going to draw this spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
From my shy end, I would not say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And now I felt like I needed to fill the space.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes space isn't needed to be filled.
That's true.
Sometimes now, if I'm in a room at a conference, for example, and no one's talking, if I'm not feeling chatty, I won't chat. I put my needs before making someone else feel comfortable. Yeah. In the sense of filling that awkward silence. So.
Yeah. I always filled awkward silence. Well, I always felt like I had to. But I think that looking back, I feel as if that's because I'm always thinking about other people, or I was always thinking about other people.
Right.
So in a moment of silence, literally in my head, I'm like, how are they feeling right now? What are they thinking about? And I was never thinking about myself, right? So now that I think way more about me than I do about them, the awkward silence isn't so awkward. Like, it might be awkward in your head because I don't know what you're thinking about, but I'm thinking about me.
I'm having a grand time over
I'm having a blast. I'm over here cackling.
Right.
But yeah, not focusing so much on other people and how they feel. Shit, focus on you.
Yeah, and let's emphasize again, learning yourself, because I know that the root of that was because of the environments that I grew up in. I felt like I had to walk on eggshells with people. Yeah. So sometimes to fill the silence, I would try to cater to them. Like, oh, well, if I say this or do this, they won't be upset with me and I won't see a consequence. Yeah. So that was always like a hyper fixated thing for me. Yeah. So,
yeah. All right. My number 8 is self-care will make or break me. That's literally what it is.
It is what it is.
The amount in which you take care of your own self, that is what will make or break you in this life. Like, no matter how successful you are, that's why you see all these millionaires that are miserable, or all these celebrities that hate their lives. Like, they're not properly taking care of themselves. When you realize that my mentality, my mental health, everything about me is what helps me succeed, that's what's going to make me. When you prioritize that, you can't break. Right. You can't break me. You literally cannot break me. You can piss me off, or you can bring me down a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But you can't break me because I take care of myself.
I done been to the bottom. My cup is full.
No, for real. There's nowhere else to go but there. Right. But even so, like, you know, we have bad days. We definitely have bad days.
We have bad days.
Oh my gosh. We have a lot. Not a lot, but we definitely have bad days. And then we literally just have to wake up the next morning and put ourselves first. Like, okay, whether that means taking a self-care day, you know, we take self-care days all the time. We be putting our phone on Do Not Disturb. If our phone's on Do Not Disturb, you know, like, just give me a second. You know, like, we got to reset ourselves.
Mine's on all day, every day. I just don't
You just started doing that.
No, I just turned the status on. It's always on D&D.
Oh, okay. D&D is really healthy.
Now I want people to know I'm on. But before I was being secretive.
That makes sense. Do you have that one person that's not on there?
Yes, I do.
Me too. I'll be having that one individual, like, anytime you
a setup.
Anytime you want to hit me up,
I'm going to hear your call.
No, for real. That's funny. That's cute. All right, it's your turn. Number 9?
Number 9. This kind of goes along with what we said in the last episode. Again, run it back if you have not watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I am capable and deserving of creating the life I deserve. Which basically sums up everything we just covered.
Say it again.
I am capable and deserving of creating the life I deserve.
Jeez.
You have the power. The power is in you. That's the name of my ebook. The power is in you.
That's cute.
Yes. Slight plug.
That's a deep one. Because I brought it up a few times, but I just didn't have any faith in myself. I didn't believe in myself. Not to mention, I've been from the same area my whole life, around the same people my whole life, and so I didn't think that I was capable of getting more. You know, even now, me stepping into my purpose and really walking and taking a leap of faith.
Walking in it, not learning it.
Yes.
That is, ooh.
But even then, I'm an outcast in a lot of rooms that I walk into, you know, because I'm around people that are so content with their life, right? And so it feels uncomfortable. And it's like, you are capable of doing that, whether you're the first one in your family to do that or you're the last one, you know, like, no matter what, you're capable of giving yourself a better life. But I didn't see that for a long time.
You saying that just reminded me of, so like every day when I'm at work, I make my little to-do list, but I always put whatever thought first comes to mind right at the top.
She sends them to me.
It's usually a little affirmation. And the one that stood out the most when you said that was, the rooms that I walk into will bend to my light. That means you may feel like you're unqualified, but if you're in that room, chances are you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Especially if it feels good.
For sure.
And I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I need to be in this room because No, I'm talking about if it aligns with your spirit, your everything. Like,
there's a reason for you to be there. Figure it out.
Exactly.
We be picking lessons from everything.
Everything.
Like, I know I'm supposed to be here. I don't know what for, but I'm gonna find something.
Right.
It was like, ooh, what'd you get? What'd you get out of that? Just dinner last night. When I went to dinner last night, and I was like, I don't really know if I want to go. There's a lot of different energies, and I learned so much. Like, oh yeah, I
whether it's new lessons or revelation.
Yeah. Or confirmation.
Look for something.
Take something out of there.
Get some kind of puzzle piece.
Ooh, we'll be getting so many pieces. Even just a little corner of the piece.
We got like a 10,000 piece puzzle going on right now.
Ooh. But it's so fulfilling to find the pieces. We're talking about like pieces. We talk about it like puzzle pieces. Like we're making a puzzle of our life.
Like there's a big picture of your life, and you're slowly getting
pieces.
Each piece of what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. And then when you align with people,
and then they get the confirmation too. You be like, oh, so it ain't just in my head.
Yeah. Or she'll say something, or we'll be talking about something, and not even just her. I'm aligned with other people too. But it's like they will say certain things, and I'm like, that's my confirmation. You just gave me a piece, and you don't even know it. Right. And sometimes it be big pieces. I'm like, I needed that.
And sometimes people that don't even see the vision.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for not believing.
Right.
Okay, my number 9. I can only love and be loved to the capacity at which I love myself. That goes back to, I never understood why I got put into certain relationships or friendships or whatever, because I knew that I deserved more, but I wasn't acting like I deserved more. I wasn't showing up as that person that actually deserved more, because I didn't love myself for real. I didn't truly inside of me believe that I deserved a good man or even a good friend. And it's like, nobody can really love you until you fully love yourself, which again, I didn't understand all through my 20s. But looking back as I'm walking into 30, I'm like, I know what love I deserve, because I deserve to be loved in the way that I love myself. You know, I hold myself to such a high, like I take care of myself so well that it's like, if I go into any relationship where you're not loving me to that capacity, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, if I can love myself better than you can love me, not even better, but like, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to talk to me any type of way, because I don't even speak to myself like that.
Right.
I let men speak to me this way because I spoke to myself this way, or because, you know, my male figures in my life always spoke to me this way or whatever. And now it's like, I respect myself so much that if I'm going to be around you, you need to respect me as much as I love myself. Otherwise, what are we doing?
What J. Cole say? Love yourself, girl, and nobody will.
Ooh.
A bar.
A bar.
A
I love
bar.
you, so J. Cole. What you got for number 10?
Number 10.
10. It's the final one for Nico over here.
Listen. If y'all knew the last 4 years of my life, I know I keep saying that, but y'all catch up sometime.
Yeah.
Finding the beauty in the journey.
Ugh.
I feel like, especially in a digital world where we can see anything we want online, social media, etc., we're always destination based. And with that being in mind, you're missing out on all the lessons you can gain.
Yeah.
You're missing out on all of the confirmations, the gems, everything during the journey. And then you realize life is the journey.
Mm-hmm.
What did they say? You have 2 dates and a dash. What did you do with your dash?
I never heard that.
So let's rewind it. You got 2 dates. Your birthday, a dash, and your death date. What did you do during that dash? Number 10 is find the beauty in the journey. And I believe we have our birth date and our death date. And we have the dash in the middle. What'd you do with the dash, right? We are not on this planet to exist. We are not on this planet to settle. And we're definitely not on this planet to pay bills.
I know that's right.
What did you do with your dash? If you don't know, let's start learning. We're giving you 20 lessons right here.
Yeah.
It's time to invest in yourself.
Yep. That
reclaiming my time, like Maxine Waters said.
That's what we were talking about, because when I was at dinner last night, they were just talking about how their life has been fine. And I heard somebody, I won't even say who it was, but I heard somebody that's close to me say that about their own life. And I feel like that really hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, you're fine? Like, we're not here to be fine. We're not here to just be okay or stagnant or this is cool, you know.
It is what it is.
That's one of my biggest fears, is to be on my deathbed and be like, life was fine. What? You have the power to make life anything that you want. Why the hell would you choose fine or okay?
What is fine?
Okay. What is fine? Fine means you're comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what fine means. Like, it's okay. I'm just going to live and survive and do nothing.
Right.
Oh, no.
Gives me
That's
the chills.
a scary thought. Okay, so my number 10. My number 10 is... one of the main lessons that I learned in my 20s is that is not love. So, through a lot of relationships and friendships, I found myself getting attached. And I always viewed that as love. Like, oh, I can't leave this person alone because I love them so much, right? And that's almost never what it was. And even looking back, I won't ever downplay it in my past relationships, because I do believe that I loved each individual in what I thought love was at that moment, right? But experiencing love now in a healthier way. You trying to laugh, bro. I'm trying to be honest. We're going to have to edit that too. Experiencing love now in a healthier way, as a healthier version of myself. Looking back, it's like, that was nowhere near what love actually is, or what love is supposed to look like. Them talking to me that way, speaking to me that way, treating me that way, that is not love. And if anything, I learned to pay more attention to how a man loves himself before I try to figure out how he can love me. He can't love you. He can only love you to the capacity at which he loves himself, right? So when that man doesn't even take care of his own self, how the hell is he supposed to take care of you? And watch how he treats his mama, too. That's a big ordeal for me. Well, if you treat your mama like shit, what makes me think you finna treat me like royalty?
I don't know.
That's it. That's 10. Did you do number 10 already?
Yeah, I did 10. So I don't have to speak on that. Okay.
Oh, yes. No, you do.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. I'll say I haven't been in love many times, but there's been like a couple of them. And they're polar opposites. One was where I had to unlearn the negative and toxic things I learned about relationship through watching those that I was around. And one was a new kind of love. And, you know, it's really amazing to me because we haven't mentioned God at all in this episode so far.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of times where he came to mind. I don't remember which one it was specifically that you said, but going along with this one even, I've learned that the love that I experience now reflects the love that I feel for God.
Absolutely.
And that's whether it's friendships or relational, right? Romantic. I've experienced when it's in alignment with who I am and where I'm going, there's a peace in it.
Absolutely.
There's a peace in it. There's a familiarity that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
Any sense.
Ooh.
And there's a extension of grace that I would never have for anyone else that I've had in my past.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is love to me. That's unconditional love to me. We always hear Lauryn Hill's clip talking about, we don't know unconditional love.
Yeah.
We don't know how to love someone if they're not stimulating us. Right? And I've learned that, like, unconditional love is grace.
Yeah.
You know, like, having the understanding for someone. Leaving a space for them to learn in mistakes. And then, meeting them where they are, honestly.
Right.
But if it brings peace to me, if it's in alignment with what God has for me, and if it brings the same kind of love that I have, that agape love with God, that's love.
Right. Yeah.
It's not what I've experienced. It's not what I've seen in the hashtag.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
and that all stems from learning yourself and getting to know yourself, not to mention, like I said in a previous episode, I couldn't get to know God on a real level without first getting to know myself, right? And then it's like I'm out here trying to get love from everybody else, but I wasn't aligned in any sense in my own life, right? And so it's like I had to learn to love me, I had to learn to love God, and then that's what I'm saying, like having a new type of situation or whatever where you're experiencing love as a healthier version of yourself. Like I'm more healed, not to mention God's giving me the green light. You know what I'm saying? Everything that happens in this relationship, I'm taking that up with him. Like, and I never did that. God was never in any of my previous relationships because God wasn't in me. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention I didn't even know myself, so I wasn't even in any of my relationships. Like, but yeah, it's a very different feeling, even friendships and relationships, right? Like,
and I feel like coming from a healed place, you're not so concerned about the red flags. The red flags aren't necessarily that. It's just how do we navigate this?
Yeah.
You know, especially when you get the green light from God.
And your intuition tells you. Well, God tells you. Whatever you
something tells you.
Yeah, like looking back at all my previous whatever situations, I always knew. Yeah. Like I could feel it, whether I chose to act on that or pursue that feeling or not. And when you are in a relationship that you're aligned with that's aligned with you, I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's more of like a peaceful feeling, like this is where I'm supposed to be, right? You don't have that intuition nagging at you, like, did you look at this? Did you pay attention to this? You know, like this feeling. And when you do, you can feel when it's an attack and when it's not.
Yeah, and I think also another big difference was in past relationships or situationships, we'll get into those too, or friendships, whatever the case may be, there were more withdrawals and deposits. So when I see someone that's planting seeds in me that I did not see, even if it didn't feel good in that moment, you know, and then now I'm like walking in that truth. Yeah. That's love. That's love. That's love. Why are we talking about this, Brad?
I don't know. It just came up. But no, that's something different than I've experienced. Like growing, when I was in the wrong relationships, I felt like I was being distracted all the time. You know, even when I did try to learn myself, I felt like because I was so far over here and the relationship was so far over here, like I couldn't get over here. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't get to know myself. And when you're with individuals that you're aligned with, it doesn't feel like a distraction. I told you that before. Even in a friendship, like, it doesn't feel like she's distracting me. Even when she texts me or she calls me or whatever, I don't feel like I'm distracted, right? I feel like I can continue being myself, learning myself, and still be friends with all the people that I'm connected with.
And then when you have spirituality too, or spiritual life, you get provision. Yeah. Like, we start getting confirmations and seeing where we're going as a friendship, where we're going as a business, everything. And it's like, when you connect with the right people, which we talked about in our first episode even, it just hits different. Yeah. So 30 about to be real different.
Oh, 30's about to be so great.
A movie.
It's about to be amazing. I'm excited.
I am excited.
I'm super excited. All right, pop quiz?
Pop quiz.
Ooh, I didn't even think about this one. Let me think of something to ask you. I know you got to think too, so we don't have to edit this whole thing out. You got a question? Oh, lay it on me.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Lay it on me then. Go ahead, go first.
What about the unknown excites you? That just came off the dome, to be honest.
What about the unknown excites me? I think, well, I don't think I could ever be excited for the unknown because I was scared of what decisions I would make because I didn't know myself. Now that I am so confident in myself and I know myself, I trust myself to make the right decisions. I trust myself to lead with myself being my number one priority. And the unknown for me nowadays as a healthier version of myself, it's endless possibilities. I can do what I want.
Literally.
I can be who I want to be. I can create a life that I actually enjoy having. I can be the person that I love. And yeah, like the unknown is exciting for me because I know that I'm not going back. You can't go back. You can't fail.
You can't fail.
With yourself and with God and with aligned people.
Right.
How can you fail? The only way you can fail is if you give up. But even then, you can't even give up. Once you're so far in, I can't go back even if I wanted to.
There's no going back.
There's no going back.
I don't want to anyway. That stuff was ghetto.
That stuff was ghetto. I have to ask you a question, huh?
Am I supposed to answer that?
You can if you want to.
The unknown. I'm excited for the opportunities that I never dreamt for myself. This being one of them. I've never seen myself
say it again.
I'm excited for the opportunities that I've never dreamt for myself. When you get into alignment with people that are connected to your purpose, when you are walking your purpose and not just trying to discover it, it means that literally what I cannot imagine right now has the possibility of just appearing.
Yeah.
And you got to stay ready. So you don't have to get ready.
Man, that's like a lot of the stuff we're doing in life right now.
Literally.
Neither of us imagined or prayed for.
No.
I couldn't even.
I didn't even know to.
I had no idea.
Get that?
I never even saw myself or pictured myself or even thought of the possibility of doing anything that I'm doing right now. And not even to say that it's so big and so whatever. That wasn't who I was.
Right.
Even if God said you're going to do this, this, and this, because He definitely planted those seeds in my head quite often. And I was like, huh? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
who are you talking to?
I didn't even think that it was real because I couldn't ever picture myself doing any of those things. And yeah, that's why it's exciting. Like the unknown, like when you're moving in purpose, the unknown is exciting. Yeah. You have no idea what's coming up.
Right.
But looking at what's came already,
and we're just getting started.
And it's just the beginning.
And we ain't even 30 yet.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. I'm 30. Well, when this episode drops,
when this drops, yes.
Okay. My question for you this week is, what do you do for self-care?
I really like learning now. So watching sermons, watching podcasts, etc. And just learning or seeing, not even so much learning like stuff that's attainable, but like just hearing other people's perspectives. You know, I like to just relax. And I felt like I've always had to overcompensate by staying busy all the time. So now that I've learned how to relax and just be like, yo, sit in your presence, you know? Yeah. That's what I like to do. I'm not really in the party scene as much, but sometimes I like to just spend time with family.
Step out for a second.
Sometimes I'll step big toe out and then head back inside. You know, I'm an auntie now, going into 30. Man. But yeah. What do you do for self-care?
Oh, I forgot that I had to answer too. My self-care days usually look like a really long, nice shower, exfoliate maybe, and read. I like to read a lot. Reading kind of puts new perspectives into my head, but it also gives me an opportunity to think on my own perspective at the same time. I very much am into podcasts and stuff. So when I'm feeling down, like when I say self-care day, it's like those days when I feel myself going down. Yeah. I talk about it a lot on TikTok, but I have a mood tracker. And so my bad days, I shade in blue. And if I had more than 2 blue days, I'm like, let's go. Like, you're spiraling. We got to pick it up, right? And so if I had 2 blue days in a row, I take that day, whether I had to call off, I don't have to call off no more, I'm an entrepreneur. But whether I had to take the day off or reschedule certain things, I put myself as top priority on those days. And yeah, I'll clean my room up. I'll change my sheets. I'll clean my car, which I try to do every Sunday, but life gets busy. So yeah, just taking care of my surroundings and, you know, my living space, and then doing something for my mental as well. Obviously my physical, because I put in an extra workout, you know, take a little extra pre-workout and really hit them things. But, so yeah, my self-care days look like a good workout, a nice long shower, cleaning my living area. And I'm usually good to go after that. Yeah. And silencing my phone.
But that stays silent.
Yeah, mine don't stay silent. Well,
I'm about to turn my status off, actually.
I wish. If I didn't have a child.
Yeah.
I feel like I gotta keep mine out loud. You never know when school's calling, dad's calling, you know.
You could prioritize people.
But how do I'm not gonna prioritize in school. I don't even know what they call it from. What if the nurse's office calls? All right, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. We did 3 episodes.
Where can they follow us?
I'm so sorry. You can follow me at All Things C-Win across all social media. Where can they follow you?
Let's spell this out. Remember them Starbucks orders. All right. NIKAJCOMMODORE. Nika J. Commodore on all platforms.
Nika J. Commodore.
And where can they find us?
They can find us at The Ironic Pod. You can listen to our episodes or watch our episodes on YouTube and Spotify, and you can find us on Instagram and TikTok.
Tickety-tock.
That's really a wrap now, right?
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.